What happens when one voice dares to challenge hate? For most people, silence feels safer. But he chose to speak. He chose to stand against racism when others looked away. And for that, he paid a price far heavier than he ever expected. He wasn't famous. He wasn't a politician or a celebrity. He was an ordinary man, living an ordinary life, respected by his neighbors and loved by his friends. What made him different was simple. He refused to ignore what was happening around him. Every time racism surfaced, he felt it burn inside him, until one day he couldn't stay quiet anymore. It began at work. A colleague made an ugly remark, something sharp and degrading, meant to humiliate. The room went silent. Everyone heard it, but no one moved. No one except him. He called it out, his voice steady, telling the truth others didn't dare to speak. For a moment there was silence again. And then the whispers started. Eyes narrowed. He had drawn a line in the sand. At first it was small things. People avoiding him at lunch, invitations that stopped coming, rumors spreading that he was difficult, that he was making trouble. But the more he stood firm, the more the backlash grew. What had begun as courage started to feel like isolation. And then it escalated. Opportunities at work disappeared. His reputation was dragged through the mud. Anonymous threats arrived, emails, phone calls, messages that made his family uneasy. Suddenly, his bravery had turned him into a target. Speaking the truth had stripped him of the safety others still enjoyed in their silence. The breaking point came when he lost the job he had worked so hard to build, not because of his performance, but because he had refused to stay quiet. Overnight, he went from respected employee to outcast, pushed aside for daring to stand against hate. The weight of that injustice crushed him, and yet he refused to apologize for what he had done. The aftermath was painful. Bills piled up, friendships faded, and the sense of betrayal cut deep. But through it all, he held on to one truth. Silence would have been easier, but it would also have meant surrender. And surrendering to hate was something he could never live with. He spoke out, and he paid the price. But his story didn't vanish. It spread, shared quietly at first, then louder, until others began to realize that his sacrifice meant something. That courage comes with consequences, but it also plants seeds of change. So ask yourself, if you were in his place, would you stay quiet? Or would you risk everything to stand up for what's right?